I think I found the most incredible and insane AI tool I have ever seen so far. If you haven't heard of this tool, let me go ahead and explain what this tool is. It is called Cline, and Cline is a AI agent that helps you write code, and it works on platforms like VS Code, where it can help you put in a prompt and it will write code for you. Now, it sounds like kind of like just connecting ChatGPT or something to your computer, or copying and pasting code from ChatGPT or whatever. But it's really not. This will go through the entire process of setting up a site and based off your prompt, doing everything that it needs to do to get a site up and running. And I have been playing with this tool for about 2 days now, and it is absolutely incredible. So we're going to really put this tool to the test and see what it can build. Now, here's how it works. You go in here to VS Code. If you've never used VS Code before, it's basically a tool where you can actually just write code and stuff like that. I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to write code. I don't know how to, start a whole project based with an empty file like this. So what I usually do is I go to ChatGPT or I go to Claude and I just ask a prompt and I have it basically create code for me. Well, now I can actually create code right inside of this, no copy and pasting. All I do is I connect my API key and I can connect to Claude, or I can connect to OpenAI, or whoever I really want. I'm connected to OpenRouter, which allows you to connect to all the APIs with no limit. That's why I use them. They mark up the prices a little bit, but it is absolutely incredible. So I got some money in here. I got it loaded up, and I'm going to really put this to the test. I have had an idea for a arcade, kind of like one if you were growing up in the 2000s, you could go to different websites where you could play arcade games and stuff like that, and they just had like simple games. So what I want to do is I want to see if this thing can actually do like a really complex website build, and I want to actually put it out there and see if it can do it. So I got $20 in my credits, and I'm going to see how far that will actually take me. I have a prompt. It has some sensitive info in it, so I'm going to paste it right here. I don't want to scroll up, but basically I'll read it. It says my tech stack is basically front end and React, back end using JavaScript PHP, which is basically just the technology we're using. And the objective of this is to create a unique and engaging arcade website featuring server-side games where users can earn, wager, and track points across different games. The point system should be centralized with a user-friendly registration and tracking system. And then it goes on and explains the different types of games that I wanted to create. And I had this all made up in ChatGPT. So I am going to literally just click this button, and I want to show you how crazy this actually is. So it has your API cost right here, the tokens that you're using and stuff like that. And then it kind of just says, this is what we need to do. And it's going to run a command, and it's going to start setting up my project. So this is the project being set up right now. We're using React, and we're using Node, I think. And it's literally just going to start installing stuff and starting to build out the directory for the project. So every time it wants to do a new command, it will tell you the price, and then when you can approve it or decline it. So it's going to go ahead and install this, and once this is installed, then we can actually move on. So now it's saying this is what I want the project to look like. This is the directories and stuff like that. So it says let's wait for React to install to complete before proceeding to the next step. Let me know when React is done installing. So it looks like it's done, and then it's going to say I need to create this this folder and stuff like that. and then we're going to run a command. And I'm not typing anything. I'm literally just in here letting it install. It's running these commands right in the terminal inside of VS Code. It says now that we have our dependencies installed, let's create the initial project structure and set up the basic layout of the neon theme header. We'll start by doing all this, and it's going to just start writing the code. And then you click save, and it's going to start writing a lot of code really fast. So far we spent about 6 cents getting the project started, running those commands. You know, if you can run them yourself, you know, it's fine, because running the commands in terminal are like 2 or 3 cents each time, and it doesn't really do much except start up the server. But now once it starts writing the files, it gets deep, and it gets worth it. So what's really cool with Claude API and Sonnet is it has file caching. So what that actually means is that it can read and save and understand, you know, the files without having going back and reading them every single time. So it can know that, oh, well, we have this file over here, and it doesn't have to go back and reread it to see what that file includes. So when it's building out a site with multiple different files like this, it's good to have file caching, because it will go back and forth understanding and knowing what is actually available to it to use. With OpenAI, I don't think OpenAI's API has that. It has to read the files every single time. So this actually saves us a lot of money using Claude like this. So right now it's literally just writing pages of code. I'm not writing any of this, by the way. I don't know how to write code. So it's connecting to my database. And then it's going to run the command, and it's going to install the database system. So we're about 7 minutes into this, and it's already created a bunch of files. So while this is doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and look on my desktop and see what it's actually doing. So as it's doing in the background, this is the folder that it actually made. So we have our server side files, we have our front end files, and it's going in here and it's making these files for us, and it's writing all the code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this do this, and then I'm going to show you as we progress how it actually looks. Right now we're at about 18 cents, 19 cents that we've spent so far. We got 20 bucks to put towards this project. So let's see if it can actually do this within the 20 bucks budget. So this game, it's making a game right now called Endless Runner, and it's based off of my prompt. So it made its own skill game. So it's got a directory called games, and then inside of it skill, and then made a game called Endless Runner. So the next one, it's making a gambling game, which is part of our prompt, and it's making the game right now inside of its own folder called Spin Wheel. So now we're creating the first page. This is the first page where the game is actually going to show up. So I'm very interested to see how this actually looks. It's creating the pages where the games are actually played right now. So this is going to be really interesting to see if it all has the same layout and everything like that. So now it's making a login page, and it's connecting it to my database so users can actually create accounts and stuff like that. And it's making the actual the security for it too. So everything will be encrypted. So now it's adding all the games and stuff to the app that it's created in React, so the games can actually be played once you log in. Now it's updating our JSON file with all the right software. I think we're almost done. We're at 64 cents. This has been running for 12 minutes almost. It's now building out the header so it can pull the data from the database and display their username and stuff. And it's also designing it with CSS. Now it's installing all the dependencies, and I think we're about to start up the server. It's been about 13-14 minutes. We've spent 72 cents on this project. So let's see what actually happens. I want to let this install before I press proceed. It should start up the server right when it's done. It looks like it's trying to start up the server. It says it found a mistake. I see we're missing a public index.html file. We need to create that real quick. So it's reading this console as it's creating these files to see if there's any errors and stuff that pop up. It's also creating robot.txt. So it just launched the site. We have an error right here. It's trying to get it to work. It's saying that this component's missing or something. It's not defined. So it's saying it saw it. This is broke, and it's going back through to try and fix it. And then here we are. So don't have an account, register here. User. Alright, want to register. It registered. We got skill games, gambling games, wagered games. So this is the site. So this site is up and running. It's going to keep trying to fix some stuff. But this is literally the site. So let's see what it actually looks like when we click on one of these. So it says endless runner, test your reflexes in this endless runner. Oh shit, how do I play? Up space. So it looks like you score points. So it looks like we're still collecting points. Let's play again. Alright. In gambling games. Alright, we're almost there. Skilled wager games. So you can wager your points. What does this do? So I can use my mouse or my keys on my keyboard to play. It doesn't look like the game is actually working though. So we have an arcade. So now what I want to do is I want to go in here and fix this so some of these files and these games will actually work the way I want them to work. Alright, so since the point system isn't working, I'm going to see if I can get it to adjust the points so it can actually go into his or her account, and when they wager or lose, they'll lose the points as well. Alright, so I just said when a user from the game earns points from a game, it should go into his or her account. For the gambling games, the amount wagered should be deducted from their initial points and then added back if they win anything. So I'm just going to click this. It says let's update the gambling game spin wheel component first to handle the points properly. So it's looking at the spin wheel, and it knows that that's the file it needs to go and edit because that is one of the games it created for gambling, but it's also cached in there. So it doesn't have to go through and reread each file to figure out what each file actually does. Alright, so I found one of the bigger errors that I've found with this system, and it's something that Claude does, and it's also based on token limits. So basically, when it's rewriting code, what it might do is it will say something like rest of the components remain the same, right? And then it will have this big red block. So it's actually editing this code. And when it says this, it just doesn't complete the code. So you have to come down here and move the code over. So we're moving all this code over so the file actually works. We don't have to do it for all the files, but most of the files, when it's rewriting code, it sometimes asks us to move it over. It will say something like, it'll have a placeholder like this remains the same. So it is about 4:30 right now. This has been running for about 30 minutes. So now it's going through each game and fixing it, and I think it's integrating the point system into it that it's building. So I just ran into another error as it ran. Alright, so now it's testing our site over here in this little window. It's actually browsing the site and testing it. It's saying that the servers are back up and running. Let's try and access the game. Then it's like, hey, we have a login screen or a registration screen. We need to register for this. So it's going through all the processes of registering for the site and then logging in. So with this, I've seen this go in a loop before, kind of like what it's doing now. It's getting stuck on the registration page. You gotta be careful if you're letting this run by itself, because this will burn through credits. I had this happen to me last night, and it actually like burned through like $10 without me watching. I was just clicking approve, approve, approve while I was doing something else, and it just burned through credits. Alright, so it's going to try and test this again. Let's see if it can actually get in this time. Truthfully, this part right here isn't necessary for you to actually do it. It's probably faster for you to test the site yourself. But I just want to show how it actually works. So we're burning through credits. The longer we let this run, it just burns through your money. I've already restarted it. We've burned through about $10 so far. So we're about at $12. I made a whole new task because if you let your project just run like too long, like deeper and deeper, it seems like it kind of just starts burning through tokens. So I just started a new task. So I'm logged in. This is what it looks like. I've noticed that this endless runner, it has some errors. So you can see final score 1, but my points, they keep just going up, which is a problem. Probably easy fix, but then we go to gambling games. I haven't tested this yet. Let's just spin. We won 50 points, and I don't actually remember how much we had. So we won 1,000 points, and it went up. Jesus, it went up a lot. It went up 4,000. So skill wager game. This game, I don't even know how this game works. So this game isn't working at all. But it looks like we're almost there. And this is like with one prompt. So I can do, it's not gonna let me do that high. Won 500 points. Okay. 1.5x. All right. So we have 646,000 points. So obviously there are some issues. So this issue, what we would do is we would just say it's not saving the score. It's actually just constantly counting. If you never leave the screen, go in here and make a prompt and have it fix it. But overall, with one prompt, I mean, this took about 30 minutes to build overall, like in time wise. So 30 minutes, we're at $2 here, and let me check my credits. So we've spent a total of $15 total between this project and the other one. So I had to break it up into 2 different tasks so it didn't spend as much money. But overall, I mean, this is absolutely crazy. I could sit here and do some more prompting and fix all this and make it work better, come up with some different game ideas. But overall, this is all done with a single prompt and just letting it go. This is the craziest tool I've ever seen out of the AI space. And if you know what you're doing, you can literally build whatever you want for like 20, 30, 40 bucks in credits. So, I mean, the web development space is going to be crazy in the next, I guess, I don't know, year. I would say just developing stuff with AI, just this is going to be, you know, game changing in the future. But that's all for now. I just wanted to show you how this worked. I thought it was really, really cool, and I'm excited to see what people create with this.